sports fans, welcome to Milan, Italy. I'm here for the 2026 Winter Olympic Games, and I'm in front of the Duomo, the famous cathedral and landmark of the city, the most recognizable landmark. You can already tell this is day 4 of the Olympics, so we're arriving with the games already in full session, but like you can feel the energy. It's really cool to be here. And we're going to have several videos about our experience here, so let's go.
If you're new to this channel, my name is Ed, and I chronicle all my sports travels on my website, Itinerant Fan. It has guides to all the stadiums in the major American sports leagues, plus some college stadiums and even major venues around the world. Check it out sometime if you're into traveling for sports. The 2026 Winter Olympic Games are taking place across northern Italy and are being co-hosted by the cities of Milan and Cortina d'Ampezzo. For our Olympic trip, we're using Milan as our home base. Of course, the city is all decked out for the games, but Olympics or not, Milano is a city I've wanted to visit for some time.
We're attending our first Olympic event tonight, but since this is my first time in Milan, I figured we'd spend the first day doing all the touristy stuff we can. So we're going to check out a bunch of cool things, and I'll take you along.
The natural starting point for anyone visiting Milan is the Duomo, or cathedral, the magnificent structure in the center of the city. Right now we're good with taking in the sight of the Duomo from afar, but we'll get a chance to explore it more later today. The very large Piazza del Duomo in front of the cathedral is serving as a central gathering point for the games, with broadcast studios as well as an Olympic megastore set up in the plaza. It's part of what's called the Olympic Boulevard, with merch stores, sponsor activations, hospitality houses, and more, all incorporated among Milan's top tourist sites. We'll get a chance to explore a lot of these sites later in the trip. But to start, I decided to walk into the Galleria Vittorio Emanuele II, the oldest shopping arcade in Italy, dating back to 1877. It's named after the first king of the unified Kingdom of Italy, whose statue is also in the piazza. Walking into the Galleria is an architecture lover's delight, with an iron and glass roof and an ornately tiled floor. And befitting Milan's status as one of the world's capitals of fashion, it's home to many of the most famous luxury retailers, whose products are very far out of my price range for this trip. Underneath the central glass dome are a number of floor mosaics portraying different coats of arms, but easily the most popular one is the bull representing the city of Turin or Torino. Notice the huge divot where the bull's privates should be? It's local tradition that if a person steps on them and spins around 3 times, it brings them good luck. On the other side of the Galleria is the Plaza della Scala, and nearby, the Teatro alla Scala, Milan's famous opera house. While this area isn't as vibrant as the plaza in front of the Duomo, it was still nice to see a little Olympic flair. At this point it was nearly lunchtime, and fortunately for me, one of Milan's more well-known eateries was just a short walk away. Panzerotti Luini is a bakery whose most popular item can be best described as Italian turnovers, both of the sweet and the savory kind. They also have more classic desserts like tarts and cannolis, but I went with a pretty simple choice, a ham and mozzarella panzerotti. I told my daughter it was like a fancy Hot Pocket, which I know is a terrible description, I'm sorry. But I can tell you it was delicious, and best of all, it cost only €3. Okay, from here it was a quick hop aboard one of Milan's famous streetcars to another incredible taste of history. This is the Basilica di Santa Maria delle Grazie, and next to it, a museum dedicated to one of the world's most recognizable paintings, Leonardo da Vinci's The Last Supper, or in Italian, Il Cenacolo Vinciano. Seeing the work requires purchasing a timed entry several weeks in advance. At the time of your visit, a guide directs you into a special waiting room to dehumidify before being allowed into the refectory where the mural is located. No video is allowed in this room, so I hope these still photos do justice to being able to see one of history's great works up close. Finally, it was back to the Duomo and to a special line near the back that gives ticketed patrons access to a lift to the top. Well, not quite all the way to the top, but close enough that the climb isn't so arduous. It still requires a bit of a trek across the ornate structure, and from here I got my first up-close look at the awe-inspiring intricacies of this cathedral that took 6 centuries to build. One last stair climb put us on the actual roof, surrounded by the many roof spires and the central Madonnina statue that serves as the cathedral's crown. I find it amazing that for an admission fee, you can just casually walk across the roof of Milan's most important building and take in the views of the city down below.
Well, I can certainly see why this is a defining experience when you visit the city of Milan. Just being up here, it's pretty breathtaking.
After descending from the roof, it was time to look inside the Duomo. So many of Europe's great cities boast at least one awe-inspiring cathedral, and Milan is certainly no different. It's lovely taking in all this history and culture, but of course we're here for the Olympics, and our first event of this trip was fast approaching. Ice hockey is hands down my favorite team sport, and so naturally I was thrilled to watch hockey at the Winter Olympics. For this event we would need to get ourselves to the brand new Santa Giulia Ice Hockey Arena, located southeast of central Milan. The metro was plenty conducive to traveling to all of the Olympic venues within the city of Milan, and for Santa Giulia we traveled on the M3 line to Rogoredo station. However, we were still more than a mile from the arena, so shuttle buses were on standby to take fans the rest of the way. Finally, the venue was in front of us as the crowd was amped up for a women's hockey preliminary round matchup between classic rivals Canada and the United States.
Welcome to Santa Giulia Ice Hockey Arena. This is the main hockey arena for these Olympic Games, and tonight we're here for our first event of our trip. It's the USA versus Canada in women's hockey, and as most Olympic fans know, or fans of hockey in general know, this is the most intense rivalry. It's usually the gold medal matchup in women's hockey at most of the Olympic Games, and these two teams always put on a great show.
Stepping inside the arena and getting my first glimpse of the ice and the seating bowl made it really hit home that I was really here at the Olympics. It certainly helped that I had great seats. I purchased these tickets way back in September, and in Category B, one of 3 price tiers for nearly every Olympic event. But you don't find out your exact seat location until a few weeks before the event. And even then, this is a brand new arena, so it's not like I would know beforehand where the different sections are. But I was certainly pleasantly surprised to see what my vantage point was. Despite being far away from home, there was still a familiarity to this setting for North American hockey fans. LA Kings organist Dieter Ruhl, whose work I'm very familiar with as a Kings fan, was in charge of the music at the arena. Meanwhile, PA announcer Alan Roach, best known for working the Super Bowl, was on the mic here. Here he is alternating with an Italian announcer.
Forward number 21. Attaccante numero 21. Number 9. Forward.
By the way, the Santa Giulia Arena was built for these Olympics, and afterward will be used mainly as a concert venue, which explains the lack of seats at one end of the ice. There was a lot of criticism in the weeks leading up to the Olympics regarding the readiness of the arena, as well as the state of the ice surface and the seating bowl. But from my vantage point as an average fan, I can say I didn't see much that would hamper the fan experience. Perhaps they got everything done just in the nick of time, but everything seemed to be running normally for me. I happened to be seated among mostly Canadian fans who were definitely fun to be around, but they became more and more subdued as the game wore on and Team USA began to widen its lead. Beyond the game, it was just cool being a spectator and soaking in the atmosphere of being at an international sporting event. While a lot of it is indicative of what you'd see at most sporting events, for example, here's the crowd doing the wave, it's still great to look around and realize you're far away from home and at a site that's being watched on TV by millions and millions of eyes around the world. Team USA put the finishing touches on a 5-0 win, but anyone who follows this rivalry knows that these two teams were likely on a collision course to meet again in the gold medal game, which they have done in 6 of the previous 7 Olympics. So the Canadian fans around me weren't too down about the night. But what an experience being part of the 2026 Winter Olympic Games, and although this day was jam-packed with activities, it was an incredible introduction to Milan and northern Italy. We've got a few more days here and a few more Olympic events lined up, so we've got plenty to look forward to. That is, once we brave this crowd to get back and get a good night's rest. Exiting the arena may have been the only downside of this experience, as it required waiting more than half an hour in a steady drizzle to board a shuttle bus back to the metro station at Rogoredo. While it wasn't the most pleasant experience, it didn't put a damper on what was really a fulfilling day. I hope this was an insightful look into this year's Olympics and one of the co-host cities. If you are also at the 2026 Games, or if you're interested in attending a future Olympics, then let me know. Leave a like or a comment below, and be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel because we'll be making a lot more stadium and travel videos like this one. And if you're looking for more info on other major cities or sports venues, head to itinerantfan.com. Thanks for watching, and happy travels!